Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Bite-Sized Barovia, your spoiler-free player's guide to the Curse of Strahd D&D campaign. As always, I am hoping to use these videos as a refresher, maybe even a primer for your own Curse of Strahd campaign for players, while avoiding any major story spoilers. As always, please check in with your DM. They may have changed, altered, omitted, or added all sorts of things for your specific retelling of the tale. So check in with them first, but I'll be presenting the information as it appears in the book. Today, I'm going over the village of Krezk, the last settlement in Barovia worth talking about. Krezk or Krezk, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Krezk is on the far western end of Barovia. It is as far from Castle Ravenloft as you can possibly get, and they rather like it that way. So far, in fact, that you can see the wall of the mist from the town itself, marking the very edge of the land. Krezk is a rather private community. They have tall walls and thick gates that are barred shut to anyone from the outside. They're not very friendly to outsiders and not likely to let you in without a very good reason. They don't much care for visitors, and they don't much care for company. So if you plan to visit, plan to figure out a reason to go in or to be turned away quickly. If you do get inside, you will find that the village of Krezk is a small village. Notice it's a village like Barovia village, not like Vallaki town, which is the larger settlement in the center of Barovia. The village of Krezk is a commune of small cottages and houses. Every house has their own livestock living inside the home with them. They have their own little graveyard for family members where they bury them. They grow all their own trees to have enough lumber for fires through the winter. They even have a spring right in the town on the north end, a rather special little spring where they get all of their fresh water. They don't rely on the outside world for very much, and they would prefer to keep it that way. There is one larger house in town belonging to the burgomaster, slightly larger, the old man, Burgomaster Dmitry Krezkov, and his wife Anna. They are a rather old couple with no living children. Very sad. Much like their residents, not fond of outsiders, and are mostly interested in keeping the town running and self-sufficient and full of good wine and good spirits. There are no shops, no taverns, no inns, no moneymakers of any sort in Krezk. It is a commune. Everybody shares whatever they need with everybody else and pulls their own weight in the community. If you're able to pull your weight in the community, this could be a good way to get in good, but you have to get inside first, obviously. The town itself doesn't have very many exciting points of interest to speak of, but it does have a lot of lore and a lot of tidbits that you might learn talking to the residents. And it's a good place to get information. They know what's going on, but remember that they do prefer to stay locked up in their village, so they don't get out very much. There's one rather interesting piece of Krezk, and that is the Abbey of St. Markovia. It is high above the village, built into the side of the mountain, and it is long abandoned, more or less. It was shut down after some ill-fated attempt against Strahd's rule long ago. You can dig into all that if you feel it's relevant. But the villagers no longer go up there. Nobody goes near it because they think it is cursed or haunted or rather frightening or whatever. There is an abbot. Everybody knows about the abbot who has lived up there for a very long time in isolation, complete isolation from anyone else. We know he's up there. Nobody pays him any mind. He rings the bell once in a while. You may hear it tolling out over the valley. The Abbey of St. Markovia is large. It is very, very big. It is the biggest church-type structure in Barovia, but it is not in active operation. It is a place that people don't go much. So do with that what you will. Krezk and the Abbey of St. Markovia, this whole area, is rather interesting because on one hand, there are many great hooks that tie in with the other towns, with events going on in Barovia. This could very well be a major turning point in your campaign, a huge highlight and climax. Or it could be a complete pass-by town, and you might wave as you ride on by onto your next adventure, depending on your specific story, your party's priorities, and how things have played out thus far. Because you usually start in Barovia Village, by the time you get here, by any means that you get here, a lot is likely to have happened already. So it's hard to predict what relevance this place will play in your campaign. So whatever it is, take good notes, ask good questions. There are good answers if you seek to find them. There is something that I want to bring up, a rather interesting little tidbit here. Most games, as presented in the book, start on the eastern end of the valley, which means the first village you're likely to encounter is Barovia Village. It's right there. However, it is quite popular to start on the other end, to start on the west end of Barovia, and to have the adventure in reverse order. As an open world campaign, you could really start just about anywhere. If you start on the west end, that could change the relevance and importance of Krezk for your party rather dramatically. I've never played in a game like this or run a game like this, so I would love to hear about your adventures for anyone who has run this way. Or just generally, I'd love to hear about what you got up to in Krezk while you were there in your games. Tell me all about it in the comments, please. As always, I do try to keep these videos spoiler-free as much as possible, but I can make no promises about the comment section, so venture forth at your own peril. Otherwise, that really is about it for Krezk. Not a whole lot going on here for certain, but a lot of opportunity for things to go on here. Me and my friends, we do play here at Vallaki on Sundays now at 4-ish p.m. Pacific time. Join us if you do want a lot of spoilers and want to see what we get up to and what we've changed in the story. We'd love to have you. Thank you for tuning in, and keep your wits about you on your own adventures through the mists.